إن الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب أنفسنا Lord of our souls الذي علم القرآن وخلق الإنسان, who taught and teaches Quran and has created the human being. ونزل الكتاب نزل الكتاب على قلب عبده ورسوله. He has gradually revealed this Quran, or this book, onto the heart of his servant and messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that ليخرجنا من الظلمات إلى النور, so that he would take us out from ظلمات, darknesses, multiple darknesses, إلى النور, to the singular light of Allah, بإذن ربنا, by the permission of our Lord. نحمده, we praise him. ونستغفره ونتوب إليه, we seek forgiveness and return repentantly for whatever wrongs we have done. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله, we bear witness that there is no ilah, there is no deity, there is nothing deserving of our service and worship illa Allah, except Allah. وَنَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and we testify and give witness to the fact that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that khatam al-nabiyyin, he is the finality of all of the prophets from Adam to Muhammad, and we believe, as Muslims, we believe in all of them as prophets, including, as many don't understand, Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Isa, Prophet Jesus. So we accept him in the line of prophets, and we accept Muhammad as the finality of this line of prophets. So we began in Alhamdulillah, that surely the praise is due to Allah. And this is a haqq, this is a reality that is indisputable, that praise and gratitude, all of it belongs to Allah. But Allah Ta'ala has said to his Prophet that if you are not grateful for what Allah provides you, and if you are not grateful for what humans do for you, then you have not been grateful to Allah. So we try to live in this state of gratitude and be grateful for our souls being returned to us in this day, because for many that is not the case. There were souls taken in the night and kept by their Creator, because that was their time of death. So we're grateful that our souls have been returned to us, and we hope that in that return, in Allah returning our souls, that we do something in this day that we show our gratitude, and we show that Allah was correct in returning our souls to us, so that we could do something good. So in that, I am grateful for the opportunity to be here. I'm grateful for all of you that are here, and I can only hope that you get something beneficial knowledge, and something that hopefully will generate some desire, to some motivation to either study more or begin to study the language that Allah has chosen to reveal this last message in, which is Lughat al-Arabiya, the language of Arabic. We're going to start. So the title is Quran, Original Words Matter. And I was thinking about, just on the way here, it's not just that original words matter, but the meaning of those original words matter. Because there are many people that can say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, and go on, but don't know the meaning, or haven't investigated meaning beyond what some interpreter said for you. And that's not enough, I can tell you, that's not enough. I don't know if it's Yusuf Ali, it's Muhammad Piqtal, it's Muhammad Asad, it's whoever, it's not enough. So we need to accept some things, and we need to allow the meaning of those things to motivate us and create movement. So I want to start with this ayah from Surah Al-Sajdah, which is Surah 32. And it's a very short ayah. And it is, did I put the number of the ayah? Anyway, I didn't put the number of the ayah, but we'll work on that. But anyway, Surah 32. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's the beginning. It's the first two ayat of the surah. So I didn't need to put it because it's the very beginning of the surah. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. تنزيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. Alif Lam Mim. The huruf that have meaning, we can give meaning that some of the mutafassir, some of those who have explained Quran have given, or you can let these huruf speak to you, these letters speak to you themselves. So Alif Lam, I think for many is taken as an Allah. The Mim, because it says an Allah, would be one of the names of Allah. And Allah al-Musta'an, and Allah al-Muhaymin, and Allah al-Mu'min. One of the names of Allah. Anyway, Tanzil, a gradual revelation. I should ask you what your Qurans are saying, because this, what I'm telling you, is not from Yusuf Ali or whoever. A gradual revelation of the book, La Rayba Fi, in which there is nothing to disturb your inner peace. Usually translated as no doubt about it or no doubt in it. But this Rayb is more than just doubt. It is something that would cause you to have suspicion, something would cause uneasiness in your mind and in your heart. So in this book, there is nothing to create this condition within you. There is nothing in it, fihi, in him, and min rabbil alamin, from the developer, evolver, sustainer, maintainer of all the worlds, or of all that exists, rabbil alamin. I want to say too much about that because we're going to look at that. So this is this book, this kitab. I brought my English Arabic instead of my just Arabic because I wanted to be able to be along with everybody else. But the Kitabullah, the book of Allah, or Quran, and these are alternate words that Allah uses, right? Min Rabbil Alamin is from the Lord of all the worlds. And as He sent it is the way that it exists. It only has one existence. And because it was sent in the Arabic language, that's the way it exists. So anything else is just attempt to interpret. They call it translation. There is no such possibility when you're talking about the words of Allah. You can't translate the words of Allah. So you make efforts to interpret what Allah is saying in the Arabic. And very often the translators, as they call themselves, or the interpreters or the word changers, very often they fail. And some of them fail miserably. So the only way that you're going to be sure that you're getting what your Creator sent is to learn the language that He chose. Right? That's all. So this, we ask, so many times a day, with the Surah Al-Fatiha, when we make our salat, ihdina siratal mustaqim, ihdina, guide us. We're asking for the guidance, and then Allah Ta'ala says in the Baqarah, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, again, no disturbance, nothing disquieting, nothing to upset you in here. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, guidance for those who are muttaqi, those who are guarding the souls. Open your Baqarah, just look and see what that says there. Usually it says for those who fear Allah, right? The thing is just, that's the second ayah, ayah 2 of Baqarah. For those who fear, but you know, so you start off, even before we get to there, but again, if they say for those who fear Allah, that's not the correct meaning. That's not what Allah is saying. But we want to even go back before there. Before we leave this ayah from Surah Sajda, when it says, this kitab, la rayba fi, min rabbil alamin, this book is from the one who is the evolver, developer, maintainer, nourisher, all the meanings of Rabb. This is from the Rabb of the Alameen. It says there are many religious books. There are many, so-called scriptures. Mormons have a book, right? The Book of Mormon. There's the Bhagavad Gita and whatever the Hindus have. There's the Bible, and there's the Torah, and so there are many books that are called sacred books, or books of scripture, that they call scripture. But one of the things about them is they are not able to declare, and they don't declare in their book, that this is word from your Creator. These are words from the one who created you. Everybody knows the Bible's not. I mean, how many authors you have in the Bible? Matthew, Mark. I don't know, but what I'm saying, how many authors you have. So they know that, they know it, and they say it. I had a Jewish woman tell me, we know the Torah is not 100% the word of God. We know that. Because their scholars have had input, have put things in it. Other people, they know it. But the Quran, Allah says it in the Quran that this is from the one who created and nourishes and evolves all that you know, all that exists, and even what you don't know. So this is something unique about our book. We really have a truly unique book. We have a truly powerful book. The thing is that, for the most part, we're not aware. And because of that lack of awareness, we don't give it the attention, that the Quran deserves. So, but if we did understand, we would devote a lot more of our time and energy into really, really learning. In the book, also, Allah will address us directly, which is also something that doesn't happen, because those other books are not like, it's not like the Creator and the Lord, the Rabb of the universe, is speaking in there. So because Allah is speaking in our book, He will address us, Ya ayyuhan nas, or Ya ibadi, O my servants. He will address us directly in that way, because that's who's talking. He's the one speaking, and we're the ones that He's speaking to. So this is something else unique. So the book, and Allah tells us about how it was sent, why it was sent in the book, and it is destined for the heart. It was destined in the first instance for the heart of Muhammad. And this is something that Allah says right in Baqarah, that He says, "Man kana aduwwan li Jibril," who is an enemy to Jibril? فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ, for He is the one who revealed it onto your heart, بِإِذْنِ رَبِّكَ, by the permission of your Lord. So the first destination was the heart of Muhammad, and then after that, the destination is every human heart, every heart that will open to this message, the Quran will enter. And once it enters, it begins to do His work. See, I'm falling into this too, saying it instead of he. Everything in Arabic is huwa or al-hayya, is he or she. There is no it. There's no such thing as it. Because everything that exists, every being that exists, is a being that Allah created. And therefore, every being, Allah has given it a gender of male or female. And the Quran is huwa, as Allah is huwa. Even though Allah is neither male nor female, He chose the pronoun huwa for Himself in the Quran. And we have to understand that that doesn't mean that Allah is a man, nor is Allah a woman, as Rashida Tlaib, can you believe that's what she said? For her, God is a woman. Now that's supposed to be a Muslim woman that's now in Congress, And since being in Congress, she has said that. So it's like, wow, you know. But Allah is neither male nor female, but He has chosen, because everything that He has created has either one of these Huwa or He chose Huwa for Himself. But that does not mean, and nobody should think, that Allah is a male. Okay. So I'm trying, I've been putting in this effort for some years now, but see, I still fall back into the it thing. I've been trying to honor what Allah has chosen to identify His creation, and to not use it for the Quran, to use, say, He for this book. Okay? So I've used two words. I've mentioned Quran and I've mentioned Kitab, and Allah uses both of them in different places in the Quran, and they represent different aspects of the risalah, of the message that has come. And those of you who just know elementary Arabic, you know that Kitab comes from Kataba, which is Kataba, not the now, Kataba, al-fi'l. Kataba, the verb. To write. So that the Kitab is the written document, the written aspect of the message. And Qara'a, the Quran, comes from Qara'a, which means to recite. Read or recite. So these are two different aspects or realities of the message. One is in a written form and one is in a spoken form. And they both are true realities, and they both come from Allah Ta'ala and come through the Prophet to us. So there's one that's primary and one that is more important than the other, even though they both represent the message of Allah. And the more important one is the one that you hear more commonly mentioned, and that is Quran, the spoken aspect of the message. And even though you will see on these books, the Quran, this is not the Quran. This is Al-Kitab. This is the written document. Can we agree or not? And that's part of the problem, that all of our things say the Quran. This is Kitab. And as a Kitab, it will remain a Kitab. I don't care where you put it, in your car, on your shelf, you know, in your closet, it is still a Kitab. And when Allah speaks of it as a Kitab, we need to pay attention to when He mentions that it's a Kitab and when He mentions that it's Quran, because it makes a difference. They're distinct words representing totally different realities, written and spoken. So when does this Kitab become what's on the cover? When does it become Quran? When you recite it, when you give it the Quranic life. It's not a Quran without the mu'min, without the believer. Yeah? It's a Kitab. So that's something we want to acknowledge and pay attention to. That the Quran is what first existed. And it's said that the first creation was a pen. And Allah spoke and He commanded the pen, aktub, write. And then the book that remains in His presence, that never leaves the presence of Allah, was written. And it contains all of the revelation and everything that would happen from the beginning of material, physical world till the end. So the primary existence, the first existence, is Quran. And that is the most important existence. And then the book was our reality. So that this understanding is existing in us at the subconscious level. Some of us bring it to a conscious level. But the message of Quran, he says, therefore, is not something alien. And again, message of Quran bil Arabi, not in English. Message of Quran is not something that is alien, not something that is unknown, not something that is strange to humanity. Now I could tell you, this has been proven scientifically, but I don't want to get off into that now. Okay, so, because this risala, these kalimat, these words, harmonize with our fitrah. We recognize them, okay? And this is part of our primal existence. Lugat al-Arabiya, Lugat al-Quran. So the language of the Quran is the language of Arabic. That's, and it is, we have it in the uninterpreted, untranslated form. We have it in its entirety, in the way that it came. This is Allah's choice to send it in this language, okay? Now, there are many things said about this language, that it is the most expressive, it's the most precise, it's the most conservative. When you start to study it and start to study those verbs, you begin to see all of this. You know how you can change the meaning of a verb with just one little letter, or you change the meaning with the shadda, just that little thing you put over a letter. You can change the meaning. So it's conservative, it's expressive. Something we were looking at just yesterday, and I said, when you see these things, you understand. In the verb is something descriptive and very meaningful about the characteristic of what you're speaking of, So even you say al-kitab, so you say book. From the English word book, do you get written document? No. You just sort of know that a book has either print or something. But you know that. You don't get it from the noun. That's not book, doesn't mean something written. In terms of the verb of it, like you don't have the word writing in it or written in it. It's book. But we know, in our minds, we know that book represents something like that. So what the meaning is built into the roots of the Arabic language. And understand too that a more deeper meaning of Arabic is eloquence. And so that no matter what language you're speaking, you should be mu'arib, meaning you should have eloquence. And I love, some of our older educated scholars like Martin Luther King and other people, how eloquent they were with the English, because that's all they knew. But he was a student of, because he wanted to learn the Bible in its original form, and many of the ministers are like that. They start to learn Greek. Okay. So there are many interesting things about the language, but let me go on here. So this fact of Quran and the fact that this is divine, there is something happening with the vibration in this oral sound. There's something happening that we don't understand, but it is stimulating that natural pattern within us. So when we get into the specifics of the Quranic words, Allah says this, that in Surah Yusuf and Surah 43, Zukhruf, I think, Surah Zukhruf, Surah 43, that he says, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. We have caused this to be revealed as an Arabic Quran so that it can develop your intellect, so that you will learn to understand. So there's a connection before our intellect, connection between our intellectual development and the spoken word of Arabic. Qur'anan Arabiyan, not Kitaban Arabiyan, Qur'anan Arabiyan, meaning that you need this spoken aspect to help develop your intellect. There is something about the sound of these words, not just seeing them, but the sound that allows something to happen in the development of our that helps to develop our intellect. Now, we're going to look at some specific things, and you need your dictionary. Just the beginning of Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillah. Bismillah. I don't have to go beyond this. But Bismillah. Tell me what it says in your English. Anybody, huh? Tell me what Bismillah, how that in Surah Al-Fatiha, the beginning of Surah Al-Fatiha, what does it say in English? In the name of Allah. Okay, now if you have your dictionary, just go to B, that, the letter back. It's right at the beginning of this. Okay, I'll tell you the page in a minute. You might get there before me. What'd it say? 40? All right. So you see the letter back on page 40. An inseparable preposition with the, then they give different meanings for the word, for the be. With the help of, during, for, by, on account of, according to, in, from. It also denotes the object of a transitive verb and supports blah, 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 on and on. Okay, now, to get what we want, you have to go to this column on page 41. Oh. Go to the next page. Okay, so it says the Bismillah, is in fact equivalent to saying, I begin with the help and assistance of the name and attributes of Allah, and with establishing a communication or communion with Him. But there's something before that, something, according to the Arabic usage, at the top of that column, according to the Arabic usage, the words, and then it has, ashra'u and akra'u, I begin or I recite, would be taken to be understood with this Bismillah. I begin with or I recite with the name, and we don't even want the word Bismi is like a contraction in English, Bismi, it's like a contraction. There's a letter missing. What letter is missing? H. H. Did you say H or A? H. H. In the Bismillah, the letter that's missing is Alif. After the Ba, which is a word by itself, Bi, with, then the next word is Ism, but the Alif that would be in the word Ism is not there. So it's a contraction. The Alif has been taken out. So this is not in. In fact, read a little more on there in that second column. It is in accord with the commandment of Iqra, Bismi Rabbik. So you're saying Bismillah. Allah commanded. The first command was read in the name of your Lord, right? Iqra Bismi Rabbik. Read in the name of your Lord. That's Surah 96, but that was the first revelation. So now, as the Quran is opening, it's saying Bismillah, with the name of Allah. But even using that word name is not proper. We need to talk about that a little more. So you see here, after it says it is in accord with the command, the English word in is not the equivalent and appropriate of this particle there. See that? It's not equivalent and it is not appropriate. But yet that's what's in your English. In the name of Allah. Why is it not appropriate? Of all the meanings that the bih can have, that is not the right one. The best one of what is given there to you is with. When you think of with, what do you think?
Together.
Something joining. What is the Quran all about? It's a communication from Allah to the servant. And Allah is seeking to bring the servant to Himself, closer to Himself. Quran is about this nearing, coming near and coming to and being with Allah. And when you are reading Quran in this Arabic, you are joining yourself with your Lord. So just from the very beginning, this is taking us off track. Then you think of name. What does a name mean to you? What does a name? This means ism, an ism. An ism can be a noun. An ism is a name. An ism, but it comes from a root, sama, sin, mim, alif, sama. Name is not the first, to name is not the first thing you see in there. It's to elevate, to exalt, to make something lofty, to give status. So when we're talking about Bismillah, it's by, and name is not even the proper thing, but it's an attribute, it's a quality, by the lofty, elevated qualities of Allah. By those qualities or attributes that He chooses and that He gives us to, that are most important to Him, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. By the qualities of Allah, with the qualities of Allah, who is unconditionally merciful and compassionately responsive, Rahman Rahim, just from there. I mean, but you won't get that if you don't study and if you don't do some work beyond just looking at your translator, interpreter, word changer. In essence, this very beginning, this Bismillah, even the word just the bi, is the essence of the entire Quran. And when you talk about conservative, the Arabic language being conservative, that is extremely conservative, but yet very in the sunnah, in the practice, in the way of Allah, that He can put everything into one word, one letter. All of the whole meaning of the entire Quran comes down to with, because it's me with my Creator. Okay. So let's go on. So we have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Then we have Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So let's look at the word Al-Alameen. What does it tell you for that? What does it say? Rabbil what? Rabbil, Lord of what? We know. Well, let's not even go to Alameen yet. Let's stick with Rabb, because we need to look at this. So if you go to page, I'll mark this really well. Okay, so page 197 of your dictionary. And you go to the verb Rabba. Ra, double back. That with a shadda. Rabba. Okay, somebody read to me what you got. What's it say? You got your dictionary.
To be Lord and Master, collect, possess, rule, increase, complete, perform, bring up, preserve, last, rob, master, chief, determiner, provider, sustainer, perfecter, rewarder, ruler, creator, maintainer, reposer of properties, king of nature, developer, former of rules and laws of the world. It keeps going on and on.
Yes.
Can we keep going on?
No, I mean, but do you get an idea of why I'm stopping here? If you just say Lord and you stop at Lord, you get no idea of who the Rabb is. Okay? Now, in here, if you go further down, it says to foster a thing in such a manner as to make it attain one condition after another until it reaches its goal of completion. That's the Rabb, who is fostering our growth to develop us into who we are supposed to be. That's the Rabb. And it is also there is an aspect of cherishing, of loving, of feeling that we are important to the one who created us. And He will bring us to maturity. Second column, evolution. Evolution from the earliest state to that of the highest perfection. That is what the Rabb does, evolving us. It says it also means the originator of things. But down further in that second column, He is the arranger of the different stages through which they have to pass, or which we have to pass, on our way to perfection and completion. He's the one choreographing, coordinating our lives so that he can bring us to a state of completion. He is the one who will take us in and out of social circles, of cities, places on the earth, states of wealth and poverty, hunger, sickness. He's going to move us through all of this to develop us. That's the Rabb. And it's so much more, I think, like I was saying yesterday, the word Lord is not unfamiliar. In England, it's more familiar than it is here, right? You got a lot of lords in the House of Commons. You got the Lord from this place and the Lord from that place. But for us, we have one Lord. We don't understand and so periodically, don't use that word Lord. Use some of these other attributes. Use some of these other qualities. The one who is evolving me, the one who is nourishing me, the one who is maintaining my existence, the one who has developed and continues to develop me, the one who cherishes me. Use some of the other words so you can get a better understanding. It said this word also points to laws of evolution, but don't think evolution like, Darwin, because it's not like that. Okay, we don't have ancestors in that realm that he was talking about. But we have our own lower state and our higher state as we evolve. Okay. All right, now let's go to the word alamin. So the Lord, the nourisher, the maintainer, the evolver of al-alamin. What's it say? It says worlds? All worlds? Who knows the root of this word, the verbal root of alamin? Al-alamin. Anybody? I hope you gave me something to write, because I don't know. Not really, no. Al-alamin. Al-alamin. There's a root in there, a root verb. The root verb is ayn, lam, mim. Alima, to know. To know. So now what does that tell you about al-alamin? Now, Warthaddin, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, he did a good job of translating this word as systems of knowledge. He says, Lord of all systems of knowledge. Because everything that Allah created has knowledge. So when you say Rabb al-Alameen, there's only Allah and then there's al-Alameen. There's all else, everything else. All the worlds, all the beings, plant world, animal world, insect world, the air, the molecules, everything. Everything else is creation. And everything that Allah created, He put ilm into it. It has knowledge. Now, when you understand this, it makes you look at everything differently. When you understand that everything that I'm looking at has knowledge, everything has an intellect, and not only has an intellect, but Allah says in Quran, كُلٌّ قَدْ عَلِمَ صَلَاتَكُمْ وَتَسْبِيحَ. All of them know their manner of prayer and praise. When you're looking at things and you understand this, whether it's a leaf, a blade of grass, a bee, or whatever, and you're saying, okay, this is a being that has knowledge, and this is a being that knows how to pray. You start looking at things differently. Creation takes on a different meaning. So we need to, just from these few words at the beginning of the Quran, when we understand them, our intellect is expanding. We're more knowledgeable. Now the thing is, to translate this as worlds, okay, but can you say intellectual worlds But then see, people would think, oh, that's just us. We're the only ones with intellect. So if you put that in there, I could see that being, human beings would say, that means the human beings because we're the only ones that are intellectual. But there's got to be a better way to convey what is in the Arabic into whatever language. Okay, you have to say a lot more, then say a lot more, but get the message across. Get the word as Allah has created it and the reality as Allah has given it, get that across. Instead of just kind of copping out and shortcutting. So let's see, where do I want to go from here? Okay, so we did Alameen. Let's go to Surah 4 and Nisa, Surah Al-Nisa. Now this is one in which, like I said, Allah is, when He wants to address a group or an individual or whoever, and here He says, Ya ayyuhan nas. This is how this surah starts. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the English now. You can see your English. It says, oh, mankind. Okay? Ya ayyuhan nas. Okay. So we need to look at nas. We need to look at who is a nas. Go to page 35 of your dictionary. Page 35. The verb anisa. Anisa. So this what is translated as, oh, mankind. What do you see? What does it say? Anisa.
To be familiar, proud, polite, kind, social, have an intimate connection.
Okay. And then, and that's that if you change the middle letter from a kesra to, not change the letter, but change the haraka from a kesra to a fatha, anasa, means to perceive with warmth, with feelings of warmth, of affection and love, be sociable, be friendly, be familiar with. Also in this is the sense of perception, being able to see and understand things. So this is a nas, a human being is supposed to be polite, supposed to be kind, supposed to be social, not just mankind. And supposed to look at others with feelings of warmth and not being despising others. No? Now, why is this is important? Because I'm in this group. I'm in Ya Ayyuhan Nas. If I don't even know who I am, whom I'm supposed to be, then I can be other than that and not even realize that I am totally out of my nature, right? People who are impolite, who are not kind, who are not social, they're outside of their human nature. That's not natural. And you got to know when you're in an unnatural state, because we need to correct ourselves. You know, so people who want to live like hermits, that's not natural. Now, you say, well, Muhammad went to the cave, and yes, he did. But he came out of that cave, and he didn't live in that cave, right? He went to the cave when he needed to get away from folks for a little bit and commune very in a concentrated manner with Allah. But then he would come down from that, out of the cave, down the mountain, and go back into society and get back involved. So yes, we need our times of retreat, but we are meant to be social beings. We're not meant to live separated, isolated, disconnected, and having bad feelings towards other human beings. Racism, that's not natural. That means you are outside of your human nature. And if we're not normal, that's not natural. That's the abnormal way that we've been socialized in the United States of America. But it's abnormal. It's outside of our human nature. So it's important to know this. So the nas, when Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nas, He's calling humanity on the level at which He created us. So actually in this ayah, this first ayah of Surah An-Nisa, there's like 5 words I want to focus on. This is the first one, nas. The second one is the word that comes right after taqwa, have taqwa. So, and understand this too about the human being. So instead of technology is taking people out of their human nature. It's making people move away from being social. They call it social media. That's not social, that's antisocial. communicating with somebody on an electronic piece of equipment is not being social. And see, that's part of the delusion lie that they'll tell us. And people think, oh, if I just text somebody on my phone and I just, Facebook, and I'm their real social being. No, you're not. And so the young people, and actually all of this society is being taken out of their human nature into this aberration, It's very, and you got to fight against it. Look, if you don't, like it says, resist, if you don't resist, it'll take you over. So we have to learn. So go to this next word of Taku Rabbakum. Now, what does it say? So it says, "Oh mankind." What does it say after that?
Reverence.
Okay, somebody said reverence and somebody said fear. I have a feeling that the ones that say reverence are the newer, the more revised interpretations. So fear or reverence. Okay, reverence is good. Fear is bad. Meaning that's not a good translation at all. Reverence is not too bad. But here's the thing, that at the root of this command here, Taku Rabbakum, is a word, wakaya. Wakaya means to guard or protect. Now because the object of the verb is Rabb, you can protect your creator, right? But you can guard the creator in yourself. Meaning guard the presence, protect the presence of your creator in yourself, and take Allah, because it means to protect. So take protection, take Allah as protection. Make Allah your shield. That's what it really means. Make Allah your shield, make Allah your protection. Taqu rabbakum. There's no indication of the guarding in fear. There is some indication of it in reverence. And if you are reverent, you will be careful. You will be careful how you speak. You will be careful how you act, how you treat others in that reverence. So there is some aspect of it. So أتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. So the next word we want to look at is, actually I put خلقكم. Okay, so just let me do this then. Okay, the verb خلق, which means is translated to reverence your guardian Lord, or fear your guardian Lord, your Rabb. At least they put the aspect of guardian in there. Who created you. They use the word created. خلقكم, created all of you, created you. خلقكم. So the verb خلق, which means to create. But there's an aspect of this creating that we won't get just from using the word create. Because there's another word, fatara, that also is very often translated as create. Surah Al-Fatir, which is Surah 35. It's real interesting because in the title of the surah they put the originator, and then when they go into the ayah of the surah, they say the one who created. And then in parentheses they put out of nothing, which should not be in parentheses. Because Al-Fatir is the one who creates from nothing. Al-Khaliq is the one who takes parts and puts them together and makes something. So there is a difference. So here, this is the one, khalaqakum is the verb khalaq. It is the one who took something and created you. And what did Allah take? Earth and water, right? Earth and water. He took things that he had already created, and then he put those things together. Thumma, and then nafakha. He breathed into us of his ruh. So we have the earth, the water, and the ruh, the spirit, or the holy breath of Allah Ta'ala. So that's al-Khaliq. So when it says khalaqakum, he created you, we need to know that he took things and put us together and made us. We need to know our components. That we are earth, water, and a spiritual ruh. And then it says min nafsin wahidat. So what is a nafs? What does it say there? Created you from what? What did you say? In the back?
Single soul.
A single soul.
And it's in person.
Some places it says a single person. Single soul, single person. So, nefs. Let's look at what nefs is. What is a nefs? Page 572 in the dictionary. 572. Nefas. So interesting when you see the first thing that it says there. 572? Oh. You can turn the pages and just look, I'm walking on you. You can turn this. There it is. So, nefasa. What's the first thing that it says?
To be precious.
To be precious. The nefs is a precious, valuable entity. And then it says in request, something that is in request, it says console, cheer. So the nefs is also meant to bring consolation, to cheer up the one in whom the nefs exists and the ones with whom the nefs comes into contact. We're supposed to be bringing happiness. Nefsin wahidat. Now, for those of you who know Arabic, you look at that adjective, you wouldn't know about the nefs, but if you look at the adjective, what do you know about the nefs? Nefsin wahidat. So what does that tell you about the nefs?
It's feminine.
Say it again.
It's feminine.
Feminine. The adjective is feminine. So the nefs has to be feminine. The soul has a feminine gender that Allah has given to the soul. Nefsin wahidat. Every nefs is hiya. Everyone. Nefsin wahidat. So well, this is what we know. We know from this adjective that this is a feminine entity. And we know we'll know that from the adjective that the pronouns that we will see later. We know that she is precious because that's what it says, that the soul has value. We know when we get to Surah Al-Shams, we will know something else about the nefs, and that is that this nefs has intellect. Obviously, created by Allah Ta'ala. So she has an intellect. And we will see that in Surah Al-Shams. And we'll learn other things about her from Surah Al-Shams. What else? Does it say anything else in here that we need to? So it says the mind, the inner desire or feeling, which is important, inner desire or feeling when we look at Surah Al-Shams. So it says reflective, but that means reflexive, meaning that the nefs can also mean, like I say, nefsi, myself, nefsahu, his self, and fusana, ourselves, so that it has to do with the essence of who we are, the nefs. So we're going to come back to that word when we get to Surah Al-Shams. So the other thing I want to look at is the word arham. So it says, created min nafsin wahidatin wa khalaqa minha zawjaha. He created her spouse. Oh, this is how we also know minha. You see in here is khalaqa minha, created from her. Zawjaha. Now look at what your translator is doing there. Look at what your word changer is doing there. What did they say? What did it say? Created from it, its mate or its spouse. Give no credit whatsoever to the gender that Allah Ta'ala has given the nefs. There is no it in Arabic. So in Arabic, created from her zawj, her spouse. And then it says, وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا, and scattered from the two of them, مِنْهُمَا, رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً, many, countless, innumerable, or many men and women. And we go, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, again, guard Allah in ourselves, الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ, the one by whom you ask. It is by the reality of Allah that we ask. We ask for a lot of things. That's another topic. But anyway, the one in His name or by whom we ask, And then it says, Wal Arham. This is the last word I'm going to look at here. Wal Arham. So it says, reverence your guardian Lord. It says, whom you demand your mutual rights. I don't know why they would put demand in there. You can't demand anything of Allah. But anyway, it says, and then it has, what my book has in parentheses, reverence the wombs. What do you got? Anybody have family ties? Yeah. Anybody have family ties in there? Reference to family ties? Anyway, okay. So, al-arham. Arham, this noun, this word is a plural. It's a plural of rahimu. The singular of al-arham, the wombs, is rahimu. Alif lam, the ra. This is not very good. Rahimu, the rahim. This rahimu is the uterus, the womb. Al-arham are the wombs. Allah Ta'ala in a hadith, Allah said, Shaqaqtu ismaha min ismi. I took her name from my own name. He took the name of the womb of the female from Rahim. Every woman, whether you bear a child or not, unless some of these synthetic toxic drugs have caused you to be born without a uterus, which is abnormal, you have a rahim, you have a place of mercy within. We have a place of mercy within ourselves. What you will notice, so this is rahimu and Allah is rahim. This is in the superlative, the most compassionate, responsive. We have rahimu, places of mercy within us, places that respond with compassion to what develops in them. Or they are centers of mercy, whether we have a child or not. They're centers of mercy. The female, the woman, has been honored by Allah Ta'ala by giving her the rahimu and by, how would I say, giving her His creative responsibility. Allah is the one who began life and developed life. He is the Rabb who evolved. But then He put this into the woman. That is an honor. And in this, by saying this, Attaqullah alladhi tasa'aluna bihi, so guard and have, protect Allah in your life. And then if you take it out, alladhi tasa'aluna bihi, wal arham. He did not repeat. So he's putting the taqwa of himself on a level of taqwa of the rahim, the creative places in the woman. I hope we can understand that, because that's really relevant. When you understand this, there is no way in the world that we can have what we have in the American society of women being raped, assaulted, sex traded, whatever, slaves, sex slaves. Never. You could not. Allah has required that we elevate the woman and the ties that are formed. Like some people translate this as family ties. I got into sort of a debate with a person in Israel about this, and he said, no, this is the family ties. I said, it's the woman, that's the family. And I said, well, okay, if you want to say it's the family ties, how are those family ties formed? There is no life that comes into this world except it comes through the womb. Okay? They can do this test tube stuff, whatever, but eventually they got to put it into a female womb in order for that life to develop. So, family ties are formed through the wombs. Al-Arham, Al-Arham. And Allah wants this given taqwa. There's that I've done full retreats on that topic. So it's but it's an important thing. And this from the hadith. The Prophet said that Allah said, Ar-Rahimu mu'taqilu bi arshillah. You know the alaq, mu'allaq, not mu'taqil, mu'allaqatun. Al-Rahimu mu'allaqatun bil arshillah. The womb is attached. You know, al-alaq is something that clings, right? The clot that clings. So the womb is clinging to the arsh of Allah. Mu'allaqatun bil arshillah. Attached. There's a direct connection between the womb of the woman and the arsh of Allah. So ladies, my sisters, do not allow people to talk you into a hysterectomy. And if you've already done it, just make istighfar and apologize to your body and to your Lord for allowing someone to indicate to you that this entity is not important, that this is not something valuable, that this is not something that you need anymore. You know? There are ways to heal, and don't let people put fear into you. If you don't take this out of your body, then it's going to cause your death. Please. There's one cause of death. Let me just say this. There's one cause of death. Your time is up. No soul dies by permission of the Creator. So you take death off the table. And you find ways to heal what Allah Ta'ala has given. Okay, so let's I think we have to, so what I wanted to do for this, I said, okay, let's look at an alternate interpretation here. That, okay, so this is my alternate interpretation from what you see. O you kind and social one, Ya ayyuhan nas. Take Allah as your protector, the one who created you from one noble spirit and created from her spouse, and dispersed from the two of them numerous men and women, and guard Allah in your lives, the one from whom you ask, and the wombs. Inna Allah, surely Allah is a guardian watcher over you. That's the last part of it. Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. That Allah is the one who is the guardian watcher over you. So that's my alternative interpretation. I do this all the time in my group. You know, I have a study group that we began, we're into our 12th year now. So I think when I started, about in 2008, I think it was, that we had our 11th anniversary in April. So we're into the 12th year. So I kind of would look at different tafsir and interpretations, Yusuf Ali, and I'm trying to think who else I have. I have an Iranian translation, and I have a study Quran, which is different. And I would just see, you know, kind of compile them and take some from here and some from there. Now I just do my own thing. And I used to put quotations. I don't know, why am I putting quotations? This is nobody's quote. So I stopped doing that. And, you know, the thing is, once you learn, study the Arabic, then you can say, okay, I see that it says, it gives me all these choices of a meaning. Let's see which one I think fits best here. And you can take it, you know, I mean, you're not changing the Arabic. You can't do that. But you need to make things meaningful and say them in ways that also agree with what we're seeing in the Arabic. So this, and you know what? So somebody's book said created from its mate. So here's what this one says. Created you from a single person, created of like nature his mate, and from them twain scattered countless men and women. So this actually changed the ha, which is her, hers, to his. Complete reversal of the pronouns. And you have to say this is intentional. Because pronouns like ho and he, this is second grade stuff, you know what I'm saying? Kindergarten, whatever. This is not like scholarly, you know, you have to be. No, this is intentional that this is being done. All right, so we're going to move from this beginning of Surah An-Nisa to the words Shams and Qamar, where I need the wipes to sun and moon. We're gonna go to sun and moon.
It's a red marker over there, so it might work better on
Okay. Why?
So,
Yes?
you know, it brings, when you do say her, it brings to mind who was created first, Adam or he, because it says, when you read the whole thing, it says, and created her, and then when he created the woman, who created you from the same woman.
Soul, single person, yeah.
Created of like nature. Her mate, that would mean was she created first?
But see, this is the nefs. The nefs is not the physical body.
The female essence first.
But that's the way it is. When you study biology,
Right.
every fetus starts out as a female. That's the way it is. Every fetus begins as a female. Then it has to get something, testosterone, to change it to male. Okay? So everything starts in a female nature.
Even Adam. Even Adam.
Yeah.
everyone has a nest.
See, the thing is that when Allah establishes a sunnah, the sunnah does not change. This is the practice of Allah. This is the repetitive practice of Allah. So, yeah. You know, a lot of what you will find in the tafsir came from biblical stuff. You know, this thing about the rib and all that's not Quran. Not even from hadith. Because in the hadith it says the woman is like a rib. If you try to straighten her, you will break her. Leave her in her nature. Otherwise you will break her.
That's Quran.
That's hadith. That's not hadith. That's hadith. Yeah.
She's talking about the rib?
That she's like a rib. If you try to straighten her, you will break her. So you have to leave the woman in the nature that Allah Ta'ala gave her, not try to make something else of her. You know? You destroy. Okay, so we want to look at the Shams and the Qamar. Now, when you look, if you look at these in the dictionary, it doesn't say much about either one of them. So as Shams, let me try this red. The Shams, it says, like bright light. I think the Shams, if you look, like the verb Shams means to give a bright light. As Shams. Qamar. And you know what is interesting what it says about the Qamar when you look up the verb for Qamar, Qamara, it just says to be white. To be white. So there are places that the Shams and the Qamar, and they usually, Allah Ta'ala usually uses them as paired, because they are, you know, as everything is. And when you have pairs, one has to be female and one has to be male. That's the way pairs are. So I put down this. So this is from Surah Yunus, Surah 10. Ayah number 5 is Surah Yunus. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي جعل الشمس ضياء والقمر نورا وقدره منازل. So Allah, He is the one who made the shams, diya, like bright light, and the qamara, He made the qamar a light, but the diya is like the brilliant, like a brilliant, shining giver of light, and the moon is just a light. So the moon is a light. And He measured for the moon manazil, stations. You know, with the moon, hey, takes on different, you know, the hilal, the different forms, right? But the sun stays the same all the time. And it's not that the moon is actually changing, it's just that the way that He is reflecting her light. Now you hear me, okay? The way that He is reflecting, huh?
I don't know if everybody knows.
Surah 10, which is Surah Yunus, ayah 5. The way that He is reflecting her light causes the changes in His shape. So another place, so this, you know, you find it like, just write down 10:5. So then, if you look at Surah 13, ayah 2, so this is Surah Ra'd, Surah Ra'd, the thunder. وَسَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ I have subjected, He subjected the sun and the moon. كُلٌّ يَجْرِي لِأَجَلٍ مُّسَمًّى each one running along in a specified term. In both of these places, as Shams wa Qamar, is not indicating male, female, just putting them in there, okay? But giving them identities. One is a bright, brilliant light, and the other one is a light, a nur. The other one says that they're both, you know, moving along in a specified term. Surah 25, which is Surah Al-Furqan, the beginning of this surah, oh no, not the beginning, ayah 25, 61, ayah 61 of Surah Al-Furqan. So if you go to, in my Yusuf Ali is on page 941. So if we have the same translation, go look for page 941. It should be somewhere in that vicinity. So this is Surah Furqan, this is Surah 25. What did I say, 940?
Here,
Yeah, Surah 25, ayah 61.
there's 27 here. That's not
On page 9. It may not be the same page exactly, but ayah 61, 61. Okay, so if you read the Arabic, you look at the أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا وقمرا منيرا. تبارك, blessed is the one who ja'ala, who made in the heaven constellations. He made different constellations, groupings of beings, entities. وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا, and He made in her, in the heaven is also hiya, made in her sirajan, this lamp that is giving off light, and the moon, the white being, munira. And it says that moon, it says the moon giving light. In mine, what does it say in yours? Does it say moon giving light?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Does the moon give light?
Yes.
It has light, but it doesn't really give light. It reflects light. He reflects light. So it is the shams that gives light to everything. Gives light to the world, gives light to the moon. In one place in Yusuf Ali, he says that the moon has borrowed light. Borrowed from the sun. So the moon is reflecting. But again, here it doesn't say masculine or feminine. So in all of these references, Allah is mentioning them and saying something about their reality, but He doesn't say whether the masculine or feminine. But when you look at the footnote, now look at the footnote for this ayah, which should be the second footnote 3121. Now read me the footnote. Let me see. Do you have it? Oh, you don't have footnotes in yours. Okay. Who has footnotes?
Right here.
Wait, let Jackie do it. No, go ahead.
The glorious lamp of the skies is the sun, and next to him is the moon, which gives bar light. The constellations, of course, includes the signs of the zodiac, which mark the path of the planets in the heavens.
The glorious lamp of the skies is the sun, and next to
Yeah.
him,
Yes.
so Yusuf Ali in his commentary did it. But
It's in here too. Is this?
That's it.
Oh, it's
That's
just-
it.
But see, in the ayah, it doesn't say who are here. But even what I'm saying, even in the commentary, you're putting it. Now, we're going to go to Surah Yasin, which is Surah 36. Go to ayah 38 and 39. I have page 1178. I don't know, let me see. 1,178, that's what I wrote down, so let me see.
36 what?
36, ayah 38 and 39.
38,
1,178 is what I have. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. The Arabic. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. That's 38. 39. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم. That's 39. Now tell me English.
And the sun runs its course for the period determined for it. That is the decree of him exalted in might, the all-knowing. And the moon, we have measured for it mansions to transverse, till it returns like the old and withered, lower part of a stove.
Okay, who's got something different? Go ahead.
And the sun runs unto a resting place for him. That is the decree of him, the exalted in might, the all-knowing. And the moon we have measured for her stations to transverse till she returns like the old and withered lower part of a date stalk.
Reversal. A complete reversal of the pronouns. وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا. The sun runs along in her temporary her determined state. Laha, what has been determined, measured for her. ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. That's the decree of Al-Aziz, the exalted and the all-knowing. وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ. And the moon, we have measured for him, manazil, these stations. So they either copped out with the it, or they completely reversed and put him for the sun and her for the moon. Now you got to start to think about these things. I'm serious. Like, why? All right. I hope you're getting some ideas of maybe why. But let's go on with this, because this is a very, very important. So now this is the last thing we're going to look at today. And like I said, you could do this on every page of the Quran, not specifically with this he and she thing, but or him and her, but with so many things that you're just going to be at a loss if you don't really learn. So go to Surah Al-Shams, which is Surah 91. That's on page 1742. And this is the one. Now, I did not choose this topic for you. I didn't even have it in my mind. Honestly, I'm just telling you the truth. Your host here, behind the camera, said to me, can you talk about the importance of, So I asked him, I said, well, listen, since you requested this topic, did you have something specific that you were interested in? And this is all he mentioned. First two ayat of this surah, Surah Al-Shams. So we will see why. So A'udhu Billah, I should really let you read it. I should let you read it in Arabic, right?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, you said you should. I didn't know you said you
Do
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا تغشاها.
Yaghshaha. Okay. So, well, actually, the reason that I'm going to look at beyond the first two ayat all the way to 10 is for, because we will get the nafs in here again. Okay? So, we're going to go from 1 to 10. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها والنفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. Okay, anybody, start out. Read me some of what you got. What do you have? Read me some of your English.
I'm not sure.
The English.
By
By
the sun and its brightness, and the moon when it follows it, and the day when it displays it, and the night when it covers it, and the heaven and he who instructed it, and the earth and he who spread it, and the soul and he who apportioned it, and he inspired it to understand what is wrong for it and what is right for it. Indeed, he succeeds who purifies it, and indeed he fails who corrupts it.
Okay, you got the it thing. It. There is no it.
I got he and she, and then it goes into it. So it's by the sun and his splendor, by the moon as she follows him, by the day as it shows up glory, by the night as it then starts into it.
But when it gets to the it here, when you have he, I mean you have he for the sun and she for the moon, but the it is for the day and night, which also are masculine or feminine. That, like, you know, so, and the firmament, and it's, you know, sama. The sama is also she. The sama, the sun, the sky, the heaven, and it should be her structure, and the earth and her expanse, her vastness, and the soul, wa nafsin wa ma sawaha, the soul in her proportion, her structure. So, you know, it's just really, it's whacked out. I mean, it's just messed up. So the sun and her, and it's not just our interpreters, it's in the whole understanding in American society that the sun is masculine and the moon is a woman, the moon is feminine. And in the Hindu understanding, the same thing. So I'm like, wow, when did this happen? How far back did this go? But the people that understand Arabic have no excuse. There is no excuse. It's so clear and it's so simple. By the sun and her splendor, her brightness, her brilliance. By the moon as he follows her. See what I'm saying? Why don't they want the reality expressed here? Because most men can't handle that. But it used to be known, men used to say, I gotta check with the boss. I gotta check with my better half.
I still do.
Thank you. And I'm sure she said, thank you, because you know you go home with me. So, as things have changed And as women have been objectified and sexualized and demeaned, the whole concept of the honor of women, the respect of women, the value of women, it's all been just, but I'm saying, okay, that's society. We have no excuse. Our word changers have no excuse. This is deliberate. Because somebody in the so-called scholarly realm in Islam wants to perpetuate that. And that is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. But if we don't learn, and particularly as women, if we don't learn, we will not be able to resist what is being done to us. Stop together. Got a good thing going on. Whole thing about, in some so-called Muslim countries, the woman is walking behind the man. You read this? By the moon as he follows her. He's supposed to be, big looking out for you. But also that's just, that you can walk side by side. There's no reason for that. Okay, so when you get over to the soul and her proportion, which that's not what it says, but the soul and her proportion and the enlightenment, the nefs has intellect, the enlightenment as to her wrong and her right, alhamaha, her consciousness, the ilham is like almost inspirational knowledge, fujuraha of like her evil side or her ability to corrupt herself, fujuraha wa taqwaha, and her ability to guard herself. And again, it says right, the wrong and the right. No, ability to guard. The soul knows how to protect and guard herself. That's what taqwa is. And it says that قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَاهَا. Truly, the one who purifies her has falah, it succeeds. You're successful if you purify the soul. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَاهَا. And if you allow the soul to be corrupted, then you fail. خَابَ مَنْ دَسَاهَا. So this knowing these things, and knowing that you have this intellect within, and knowing the gender of your nafs, and knowing the function of the sun and the moon and how they operate. When you look at the universe and you see the position of the sun, besides the fact that she's giving light, without the sun there is darkness. And when there's no sun, like when the night comes and if it's a cloudy and you don't have moonlight, you are in darkness. You might have a few stars, maybe, but the sun is the one who gives the light. And also look at the position of the sun. The sun is the center of our system. It's called a solar system, a sun system. The sun is the one keeping everything else in order. These are things we need to study, because when we study the universe, we get to understand ourselves a little bit more. So it is the responsibility of the woman to keep things in order, to keep things magnetized around you in an orderly fashion. That's why the woman was always given charge of the home and the children, right? I mean, Allah gives you charge of the children, developing in you, bringing them forth from you, and giving them to you first. That's what's supposed to happen. Even the doctors and the nurses are not supposed to take your baby first. You're supposed to get that baby first. That's natural. So they keep creating unnatural things. So the position of the sun is that she magnetizes and keeps everything in an orderly state. And she doesn't generate life, but without the sun, life is weak. Without the female energy, life is weak. If you have a plant and you water it, but it never gets sun, that plant is weak. If you plant a garden and it never gets sun, your food will not have, probably a lot of things won't produce. The sun is what gives strength. And the sun is what illuminates beauty. Like in darkness, you don't see the beauty. So these are female functions, things that Allah has given to the woman. and given us the sun as an example of that, and told us, gives us. And then in Surah Yasin, he says that kullun yajri fi falakin kullun fi falakin yasbahun. Each one of them is in their orbit, just swimming along. When you stay in your function, in your position, everything goes smoothly. When the woman's trying to be a man and the man wants to be effeminate, everything is all out of, everything's disturbed. Everything's in a, disorderly condition. So the thing is to know this book, to know what Allah is saying, to know the meaning of that to us, and to allow our intellect to be evolved. And I want to end with a quote and with a question. So back around when I first started talking on the sacredness of women, I have done retreats in several places on the sacredness of women. I found this quote, and this is from Sheikh Abdullah Adhami, somewhere around 2008, 2009. He said, the sun, as Shams, is female, the giver of light. The moon, Al-Qamar, is masculine. Maybe said feminine. The sun as Shams is feminine, the giver of light. The moon, Al-Qamar, is masculine and reflects the light of the sun. So when we as men are achieving and performing well, we are only reflecting the light of our women. He's Arab. This is an Arab sheikh who said this. Sheikh Abdullah Adhami, A-D-H-A-M-I, Adhami. A-D-H-A-M-I, Adhami. You may find him on the internet, I'm not sure. Then my question is, how can we be satisfied to speak and understand only the language of our enslavers? Why are we satisfied with this? The language of our kidnappers, the language of our torturers. How are we satisfied? And not seek the language of our Creator. And not work to develop in ourselves the language of our Creator, the language of our basic nature, the language of our fitrah. I don't need you to answer. I just want us to think about it. Okay? And that's where I'll end. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Questions, comments?
Just
Which part too?
day and night.
That's beautiful.
It's day.
She didn't comment back here.
No, day is masculine and night is sometimes feminine and sometimes masculine. The night is in the anzalna fi laylat the night is feminine. Laylat is what? It has the term of rupa on the end. Other places, the night will be for some reason the night changes. So Jazakumullah khairan, may Allah reward you and bless you and hopefully give you impetus to learn this language. Alhamdulillah.